Okay, so what chemicals are going to be used? Okay, what are we going to be using here? So, like most chemicals being used, they have certain things about them. Chemicals have hazard warnings. Okay, so this is the names and formulas of those chemicals. Okay, they're going to be on this warning, and then they're also going to have the actual hazard on that chemical. Okay, so key thing going forward, and this is outside of chemistry too, if you ever see any chemicals, pay attention to that hazard warning, okay, especially the icon. That can give you a lot of information about what type of chemical you have in your hand, right? So for instance, say we got hydrogen peroxide, very common thing that we can buy. It's going to give you the formula name, and then it'll give you the hazard warnings. Okay, in this case, hydrogen peroxide is corrosive, and it's an oxidizing agent. Okay, and these are hazard warnings associated with the hydrogen peroxide. And then we got some other examples here. I'm not going to go everything, okay, but this is the general basis of what you can expect. Now, let's talk about some of these hazard warning definitions. So, we got toxic, which is basically it can cause harm to you if you inhale it, smell it, if you're eating it, or if it gets on your skin in some type of way. Hopefully, right, nobody's eating these type of chemicals in that way. Well, I mean, there's other chemicals I'm pretty sure you guys might be doing, but I don't need to know nothing about that, okay? All right, corrosive. All right, corrosive, okay, is basically it's going to destroy your living tissue. Okay, so if you get this on you, you might be in some bad shape. So you want to avoid those hazard warnings. Carcinogens, this is basically things that's going to cause cancer. Oxidizing agents are basically causing your chemical or whatever chemical that is with to be oxidized. So these are very reactive chemicals for the most part. Irritants are basically going to cause you to be itchy or cause your skin to be dry or sensitive, okay? And, so yeah, definitely avoid those irritants. And then lacrimators, they cause you to cry. Okay? So these are some common hazard warning definitions that you're going to be seeing, at least in this course here. Okay, so let's go over, right, some different precautions that we should take when we see these hazard warnings, okay, or any of these icons or signs. So let's look at this first one, this exclamation point, right? Bam, something's going on. When we normally see this icon, okay, this is going to be used for if we got some type of irritant and it gets on our skin or eyes, right? Or if it's going to be potentially toxic or something like that, okay? So if you do see this icon, there's some precautions you need to take. One is you need to always make sure you're avoiding contact with your eyes and skin. And that's really for all chemicals, okay? So especially with the exclamation point, but that's really with all chemicals. You're not going to eat or drink anything in the lab, okay? You don't want to breathe in the vapors from this chemical, okay? You want to have on your PPE. These steps right here really apply to all chemicals, okay? But specifically with this one too. If you see this icon, right, we see that hand, little crack here. This means that it's corrosive towards the skin or metals, okay? You definitely want to avoid contact with the skin, eyes, and clothing, especially with clothing, as it can destroy everything. So it could potentially lead to this next one that we're going to talk about here. And then also another precaution to take is you need to have on your PPE. We're going to talk about what exactly PPE is, which is personal protective equipment, but we're going to talk about what is that. Flammable. So basically with flammable, it is what it seems like, right? It's flammable, right? Fire can happen from it. So you want some precautions to take. Keep this chemical away from heat or any sparks or flames like that. Keep the container closed. Okay, so if you're not using this container, really for all chemicals, you need to close the cap, close the container, right? Always keep it closed. And of course, you need to wear your proper PPE, personal protective equipment. Okay, we also have some more. You see this O with fire. Basically, this is like an oxidizing agent. So these chemicals are usually going to be very reactive. Okay, you want to avoid, like with all these, which is skin, eyes, and clothing, wearing PPE. Okay, And then be careful, right? If you got an oxidizing agent, you got to be careful about what you're mixing with. So hopefully the instructor that you're with, or me in this case, right, making sure that that's all going simply as planned. This one is, it's like giving me some type of like chakra vibe. I don't know why it looks like that, but this is like a general health hazard. So it's really related to like carcinogens or something to do with your lungs or something like that, or it can cause impact to your organs. You definitely want to be careful with these. Are you guys going to see this in this class or this course at all? No. Okay, so you're not going to be working with no dangerous chemicals like that. But this is just, like I said, use these outside of class. So you're going to have to use this with care when you're handling it. Like with all of them, you're avoiding skin, eyes, and lungs. Okay, so make sure also with these, you're not breathing the vapors in that's coming from the bottle. Of course, not going to eat or drink in lab, and of course, wear that PPE. This one with the dead fish. Dead fish. This is basically an environmental hazard. So you're going to be careful when you're handling this. And you don't want to just throw this down the drain, okay, because that's going to impact the environment, okay? So it's going to defeat the point, all right? And then you're going to have on your PPE. Like I said, all these you really need to have on PPE. And then the last one, we got the skull. Okay? So the skull, it's fatal. You can die. We don't want people to die, okay, at all. So very, very, very similar to all the other precautions, right? But this one is just a little bit more serious. You want to avoid contact with the body. Never eat or swallow anything or get on your skin. Of course, have on that PPE. And then keep that tight on there. Now, in case you never have an icon at all, most likely this is meaning that it's moisture sensitive. So you're going to have to always make sure with all these chemicals that they're always capped on. So if we're in a lab and I don't see a cap on it, I'm definitely going to be wondering who's not paying attention to the rules. Did you look at the video? Was you paying attention at lab safety? What's going on? So always cap the bottle. Always cap the bottle. And you want to use these immediately, so never just let it sit out in the open. And once again, mostly if it doesn't have an icon on it, it's probably moisture sensitive. So the reason why we want to keep it capped, right, depending on where you are, in this case, we got water in the atmosphere. So water can definitely degrade that material, those chemicals. So you always want to make sure it's always capped on.